Hey guys, Woods Farm here, just back out working on the International Tractor. I don't know if you've seen my last video, but basically we've got a major problem with the tractor. We've got coolant leaking into the crankcase, contaminating the oil. I pulled the head off and was hoping it was a head gasket was blown. That's not the case. So after doing some more research, it looks like I'm going to have to go a little deeper. Hopefully this is something I can figure out, but bottom line is I'm just going to keep tinkering with it, keep moving forward until I hit a brick wall and I can't get any further with it. And at that point I'll just have to come up with plan B. But for now, the next step is to pull the oil pan and see if we can get access to the bottom end. So there is some sway bars and some stabilizers and whatnot in the way here, but I'm hoping I can pull the bolts and the panel slip down and out of the way. These oil pan bolts are half inch. Okay, that's all the bolts there. Should probably get it off. Okay, so it wants to come down, but there's an inspection hatch here for the flywheel, and I feel like that's holding it up, so I'm going to pull that off. It can never be easy. It looks like two bolts still holding the pan in place that were hidden by that inspection plate, which overlapped it. So they got to come off. That's a bummer. There we go. Spin it. It was funny, I just was looking at it and going, it's just not going to come down. And sure enough, if you spin it, it'll come out. That's good. Because apparently sometimes these won't come out. So I believe that is the oil pump. So now that I got the oil pan off, just gets worse. Worse in the sense that I don't see anything obvious. I can see the sleeves from what I can tell, and the cylinders, and there's just nothing obvious. Hey guys, Woods Farm here. I'm just back at working on the International 354. I've been procrastinating a little bit on this project. it's a lot easier to work on something and, you know, get behind a project that you know is going to be successful and it's fun, you know. So I've been kind of tinkering on the Kubel wagon, but this needs to get looked at. So in my last video, basically left off with the problem that we pulled the head off thinking it was a blown head gasket, and that's why we were getting coolant into the crankcase. Turned out the head gasket seemed fine. So the next possible issue is the sleeves, the cylinder sleeves, and at the bottom apparently there's like an O-ring, and that kind of seals it off. The coolant kind of stays on the outside of the sleeve and cools the cylinder. Well, apparently those O-rings can get burned out, dry up, whatever. They can fail, and or the sleeve can crack, and that can cause the coolant leak. So I took the oil pan off. I cannot see anything obvious by looking up with a flashlight to the bottom of the pistons, but apparently you're not going to see anything anyways. So guys are saying I need to pressurize the system, put coolant in it, pressurize it, and that should show if there's an obvious leak. So I'm putting the head back on today. I'm going to torque things down, and I'm going to get the water pump on, fill it with coolant, and then we're going to pressurize the system, or at least that's what we're going to try to do. This is the hookup, the setup that I've got rigged up to pressurize. Kind of is going to connect in where the thermostat bypass. So I'm hoping this will work. I'm not sure, but that's what we're going to try. So I just used the old gasket. I have a new head gasket, but I didn't want to, you know, monkey around with it until, you know, if I actually manage to get this thing repaired, then I'm going to, you know, for the last time put the new head gasket on. But I've got all the bolts in. I just got to tighten them up and torque them down. So I just confirmed in two sources, the head bolts need to get torqued to 75 to 80 foot-pounds. Water pump gasket. This little thing was like 30 bucks. It's just a piece of paper. Well, that pisses me off. It's not even close. Shit. Okay, so I've got this cork rubber gasket material. I'm going to make a gasket quick. It says oil pan, crankcase, which is what I got it for, oil pan and the crankcase. But it does say for sealing oil, water, or gasoline. So I don't think I would trust this long term, but I think there's a good chance that I'll be able to just make up a quick gasket and it'll work for now. Yeah, that's what I'm left with for a gasket. Okay, so the head is back on. I've got all the bolts torqued down to 75 foot-pounds, and I've got the water pump mounted. I just have to do the bypass, and that's where my valve is to add pressure to the system. So it's kind of working. It seems that I get up around, I don't know, it's hard to say, 15-20 pounds of pressure, and it starts escaping from the rad cap, which I guess that's what it's supposed to do. And as it stands, I don't see any leaks up there. So you can see the bottom part of the piston, and you can see the ring, and I just don't see anything obvious. You can see all around the ring there's no real... That's the center two cylinders on the, I guess, left side. I had a bit of a mess up there with coolant kind of spraying out everywhere. My goggles are fogging up, and I'm really worried I'm going to get a drop of something in my eyeball. Okay, so yeah, I don't want to overpressure it. I'm going to have to look up some more information on this, because to me, if you put more pressure into the system than it's designed to handle, like I could override that rad cap somehow, maybe put a spacer in there or something, but that's going to could cause damage in its own right. So I just don't know. I'm going to spin the engine over and try to get a look at the different cylinders, but no obvious leaks yet. See, if I take the rad cap off, you're going to hear the pressure escape. See? So I am able to get some pressure in the system. I just don't know if it's enough. The only real obvious leak is there's now clearly a drip from the oil pickup. I don't know if it's like siphoning down, but I let the tractor sit for like 2 weeks probably, and it kind of dripped and dripped, and it's more or less stopped dripping. And now there's a pretty constant drip, drip, drip coming out of this oil pickup here. So I'm gonna have to ask around online. I don't really know what's going on with that. A couple of the cylinders maybe looked a little wet, but it didn't look like it was leaking between the block and the sleeves. It looked more like the moisture was coming from between the sleeve and the piston, but nothing obvious other than this oil pickup thing here is dripping. But again, that's not necessarily a cracked sleeve or an O-ring issue. That's like, it's like the fluid's coming from somewhere else.